So I love what I do as an intuitive health medium, and I just had an encounter with somebody that I have to share with you. So as an intuitive health medium, I can energetically see where people have stress, trauma, emotions trapped energetically and how it manifests into illness. And I just had an encounter with a woman, and it literally just shifted her, completely in so many positive ways. It was the coolest thing ever. I have to share this with you. So I was at the store and I swiped my debit card, and the lady sees my card and she's like, I hate that bank, which had me cracking up because it was a bank I used to work at before I resigned and started my business like 100 years ago. So I laugh at her and I'm like, oh my God, tell me all about it. I go, I used to be an assistant bank manager. I hated this bank. So we start cracking up and she starts talking about like her issues that she had at the bank, which I could totally feel because I remember some of the stuff I'd had to deal with customers, and it was a horrible bank. So I mentioned how another bank had purchased it before I resigned and how horrible the systems were. Like, we're totally just in our little happy bubble having this conversation. And she's like, oh, no. She's like, that bank didn't buy out your bank. She's like, because I banked there. And I remember like how all the policies changed and I had to change my bank account. So she starts to getting into details about how she remembers that my bank, like basically saying I was wrong. It was a different bank that bought me out. And I was over here like, I was there. I had to go to training. I remember the whole thing. It was hell. So in this conversation, she kind of gets defensive and I'm over here like, who cares? But then I dialed into her energy and I started reading it, and it wasn't about banks. It had nothing to do with it. She wanted to be right. She was somewhere in life robbed of personal power, of choice and decision making, and trusting her intuition, which took me into her solar plexus behind the stomach. And I started reading her energy. So I say to her, I go, how's your stomach? Like, we're having a conversation. I'm like, do you have stomach issues? Like, your stomach's upset, celiac type symptoms. Sometimes you can eat food, and then like the next time you eat it, it's almost like an allergic reaction. I said, I feel like you don't even absorb nutrients. Like when you eat, it's like washes right through you. And she kind of smiles and she's like, yeah, like my mom and my sister, all of us have bad stomachs. Like it's our family. It's genetic. And I'm like, there it is. So I ask her, I'm like, are you familiar with the solar plexus chakra? Are you familiar with that energy? And she's like, yeah, kind of, and so we kind of get to chit-chatting. So I explain the solar plexus and her mouth hit the floor. So this is going to get long, so stay with me, because the solar plexus chakra has to do with following your intuition. And I explain that to her. I go, this is that energy of when you have a goal or a dream, you intuitively follow it and you remove all fear-based decision making. You trust yourself, you trust the process, and there might be fear in decision making, but you kind of work through it. I said, it's truly that energy of like following a goal. I said, the passion and the personal power, that's your sacral chakra. I said, but the solar plexus is like intuitively knowing you're doing the right thing, kind of like not being talked out of it. I said, I kind of feel like you've been talked out of goals. You've been talked down from the fence because people are trying to protect you from trauma by telling you not to do things that put you in places where you have to be brave. It's like they're trying to help you avoid disappointment. Is this your parents? Her mouth hit the floor. So she's like, yeah, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And my dad told me absolutely not. Like he said I couldn't do it. He's like, you're not going to be able to afford the college. You're not going to be able to travel, to get to school. How are you going to do all this? And then the mom stepped in and it's like, they have the highest suicide rate, which side note is true. She's like, it's an awful profession and this. And they filled her with fear and basically told her not to even consider it. And that if she did, she would have to do it on her own. They weren't going to help her out with college or any of the expenses because they didn't want her to become a veterinarian. So she never pursued her dream of becoming a veterinarian. And I said to her, I'm like, by chance, did your stomach issues start not even quite a year after you decided not to pursue veterinary school? Like I said, you never even went to college, did you? I said, you graduated high school. You said you wanted to be a veterinarian. Your parents said, don't do it. They filled you with all these fears. And now you're here. And she just stood there silent. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. So the conversation continued, and it was amazing. As I explained to her and literally told her exactly what her issues were and who and what they were connected to, I could see energetically her shifting back to the idea of becoming a veterinarian, because she was strong enough and brave enough to realize that even though she blocked that goal and became fearful of it, as she was able to identify why, it shifted her back to stepping into her courage. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I say to her, I go, I can see you shifting. I said, you're brave. I said, I said, you have a lot of courage. And I feel 100% you're going to heal the ancestral line when you become a veterinarian. I said, it may not even be a veterinarian, but you want to go to school and you want to expand and you want to become something greater than what's in the family right now. I said, and your mom was talked down from the fence by her mom. I said, your sister was talked down from the fence by your mom and dad both, just like you. I said, they're almost like, please think small because it's safe. I said, they have every intention of you to feel safe. It's not like they don't believe in you. It's not like they don't think you can do it. They don't want you to because they're afraid to see you fail. I said, it's out of love. I said, but as you shift back into your courage, you will make them very proud, and you're going to heal the ancestral line. Now she's got tears in her eyes. So we chit chat for a few more minutes, and I explained to her everything I'm seeing, and she's just nodding in complete disbelief on how much this resonates. So I say to her, we end the conversation, I tell you what, if you're here next time I come, I'm going to be disappointed. I said, next time I come here, you better not even be here. You better be registered for school. Like, it's June. The fall semester's coming up. You get your butt to school. I don't want to see you here anymore. So we start laughing. But I'll tell you what, when I got there, she was just a clerk. That's all I saw was a person that was going to ring me up, and then I was going to leave and take my stuff home. When I left, she was this like bright, shining light of goals and dreams that she had tapped back into, all because I just identified her physical issues and attached them to her emotional issues that she was harboring because she didn't want her parents to see the disappointment in not being able to pursue her goals and dreams. When I left, it was like all that came back alive right in front of me. It was the coolest thing.